Brothers and sisters, we are here. Yes. Today, part in preparation and motivation as the Mother's Day is coming, I'm going to talk a little bit about this book, this character in the Bible. Ruth is a character in the Bible in a spotlight. One of the pastors, the church I went and I attend, the pastor, every time he talk about one person in the Bible, he starts saying, today I'm talking about one of my favorite character in the Bible. And I just realized he always say this word, no matter which person in the Bible he speaks. He says, today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite person in the Bible. And I have had the audacity to come to him and said, Pastor, did you realize everybody you talk in the Bible is your favorite? Yes, and he said, so? I said, this makes the people very, very simple. This doesn't really highlight anybody if everybody is your favorite. And he said to me, I believe God, He's look after and He will import with every person in the world. Even with you, Andre. I said, okay. Even with me. I said, okay. And then we talk about today about Ruth. I was coming here and I asked Valeria, just put Valeria as well in the spotlight again. Yes, I asked her, have you heard about Ruth before? Many of us, yes. And she said, I know was somebody who left her city with somebody. I said, okay, that's something. Yes. Is a very interesting person in the Bible. I will talk about her life, but I mention most about the first chapter in the book of Ruth. The Bible is a very unusual book in my eyes, as this book talks about many people, many different people, and this person, Ruth, she's not an Israelite. She's from another country. She's from Moab. She's related somehow, blood related to Israel, but she's not Israelite. And actually, there's lots of bias against her people. Her people born and start their origin as a daughter. Two daughters have a relationship with the father. And then two people born from this incestual relationship. One of the people born from these people is the Moabites. Forgive me if I pronounce not properly the English word, the Moabites. And then these people born and grow strong at the time. People of Israel always have trade with these people. They are neighbors, and some of them have intermarriage. Ruth is from these people, the Moabites, and she married with one Israelite. First thing, when I read the book of Ruth, I was wondering why the book is called Ruth instead of the other name of people is in the book. They are equally or equivalent, relevant for the book. And why not? Because the book has other people in the book. There's as an entire family. Just giving you a summary about this book. Talking about Ruth. Ruth is something I read in a commentary. Is something that we consider significant and relevant. I saw that. When I saw that, I just want significant and relevant. What's the difference between those two words? They seem to me very, very the same thing. Were significant and relevant. The commentary person was writing, and also is I just was thinking to myself, is somebody's going to write a book about myself when I'm no longer in this earth? Is anybody's going to write a book about yourself when you leave this earth? This book is about the loyalty, the faith of this woman. I just wonder who will tell our own story when we're no longer here. How is going to be our legacy? This book is about the legacy of Ruth, her legacy, what she left. And talking about significant and relevant, I went to look up at the dictionary, what the dictionary says to me, what those words mean. Significant is, according to that dictionary, is something that has importance regardless the time or point in time exists or appears. Ruth is significant for the Judeo-Christian knowledge, regardless if she's in the past, if we talk in the present, or if we talk in the future. What is relevant is when we think how this person is relevant for me, for you today, how her story relates to our own story, how we can pick her story and say, oh, this has a parallel in my story. Somehow I relate a reasoning with her experience, or somehow I'm not really quite close to her. So, in other words, this person is somebody we look as a paradigm. Somebody was placed in the Bible is somebody we can look and compare and contrast our own life according to our loyalty, according to our faithfulness to God. In the slide, that one in the corner was a little bit squeezed there and was a little bit out of the picture. But the life of Ruth was placed in a roadmap in seven parts. She was a person. She got married to a man called Let's talk about the family. There was a family, a father called Elimelech. As you see, I really like the words and meaning of the words. I was talking with Nadine about meaning of words in German. Elimelech means God is the king. Is in one way, this person says to himself or to his society he lives, God is on control. God is on control. But not everything was flowing in the life of Elimelech and not in Joseph Klimber. If you want everything not really, life is not really linear in his life, and circumstance happens, and came in his time life a disruptor, a broken down, came in his lifetime. He passed away, and his two sons, Malon and Kilion, also die. And Ruth, it was a wife of one of the sons of Elimelech, and there is another sister-in-law called Ophrah. All the three men of the family passed away. They die suddenly out of blue. Everything's fine in life, and something happens. I will just mention with lots of respect. 2 weeks ago, we have Richard here with us. My wife find him at the shopping center just 2 days or so when he come back from his trip, and he passed away, and he's no longer with us. He's with the Lord. So life can change drastically, suddenly, and we are not uncontrolled things, even though we believe Elimelech, God is has everything under control. Life can change to a catastrophe, upside down. One day you have house, another day we don't have. One day you have job, the other day you don't have. And the things could be the other way around as well. One day we don't have, but the other day we can have. And we hold this hope, and that's why we preach the word of God. So that's the part number one. If they die, and there is something very interesting in chapter 1 of Ruth's story. The book of Ruth starts with the following verse, Ruth 1:1. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine. How can I say this word, please? Famine? Famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. They were Israelites. And there was a famine, big hunger. There is no food for everybody. They moved to Moab, and there they passed away. It's interesting because do you know what the word Bethlehem means? If you translate the word Bethlehem, is the place where Jesus born. Do you know what Bethlehem means? Bethlehem means, in case you don't know, the house of bread. The house of bread. The Bible says, in other words, there is no bread in the house of bread. This is a catastrophe. This is irony. Because we expect to have in the house of bread, in the bakery, we have bread. I thought as a Brazilian, as a Portuguese descendant, the Portuguese, they invented bakery. Such ignorance person and such pride person I am. I was so proud of this in our culture because the Portuguese, they came, they gave us the language, the culture, and they did the bakery. And for us, is the most beautiful legacy the Portuguese gave to us. Yeah, we call padaria. Padaria means the place of bread. Bethlehem, the house of bread. Many of us, we change country, go to one country to the other. We call economic immigrants. Because we don't have how to support our family, to earn a reasonable amount of money to support our lives. Then we move to one country to another. And that's what's happened with Elimelech and his family. When the bakery doesn't have no longer food, they try to find, where is another bakery? I can find food. I can find work. And they move to Moab. But I thought I was insisting, I really thought the Portuguese invented the bakery. And I was looking up at the internet. This is not really relevant, but the house of bread exists since 6,000 years ago, since Mesopotamia, since the Assyrians. Always there's a place people make bread. And that is related to is related to the end of this message, the house of bread. They couldn't find bread. They went to Moab. They lived in there. Everybody died. Everybody died except 3 women. At the time, man is the main force and means to support the family. What 3 women can do by themselves at the time, without a profession, without work to do. And then an old lady called Naomi. Naomi, talking about the meaning again, means pleased, delight. Naomi means delight, please. But when that circumstance happens in their life, when that circumstance happened in their life, and the husband died, the three sons die, and he has no means to her own food, she says in the Bible, please call me bitter, call me Mara, change my name. You know what? In times of despair and disruption, we tend to change our personality, affects our mental health. Affects our mental health. And if you ask me, Andrea, what's one of your fears? I really have this, God forgive me, the fear to not be able to support my family. With food, with shelter, with entertainment, with time, I have this fear. And God has blessed me since this moment and given me the grace I have according to my capacity, support my family, my friends, according to my capacity. God bless us that extend our capacity, that give us wisdom to really honor Him what we have in our hands. I have this fear. But the fear, it's just one of the fears I have, to don't have the means to support my family, even though God is always supporting me. The Bible said, Jesus said to His disciple, God will look after you. Can you see the lily of the fields? What's the name of the lily? The lily of the fields. Not even Solomon dressed as them do. Your Father will look after you. Can you see the birds? Can you see the sparrows? They don't plant, even though they're food for them. Your Father will look after you. That's the message of Jesus to His disciples. And when I say His disciples, and I said in the beginning of the message of the Bible and the people of the Bible is not only for the past, for the present, for the future, it's for all time. I believe this is an ongoing, is eternal word of Jesus to His disciple. I have a second fear. I already said one fear is the fear, be afraid not to support myself. The second fear is become a bitter person. You know what? There's one advice in the Bible, in Hebrews 12:5. If I'm quoted right or wrong, you can confirm that. It said, careful, look after your heart, that any root of bitter can grow on you. Look after your heart. Because when the thing is not in our control, when the things fails in life, in times of despair, disruption, depression, we tend to become bitter. When the thing doesn't happen the way we expect, when in moments we lose our hope, we tend to become bitter. And that's what's happened with Naomi, the wife of Elimelech. This has happened with me. I was a pleasant person. I was a delight person, but I'm becoming bitter. This season in my life, I became bitter. So sad. As Miguel says, so sad, so bad, so bad, so sad, something like that. Yeah, I try to memorize, too bad, too sad. I tried to memorize to say here, but I forgot. Yeah, too bad, too sad. I just remember something I want to tell you. I was preparing the message. Valeria was telling me, Andrea, you become very serious every time you're talking. You're no longer a little bit light as you used to be. I don't know. I'm afraid I'm getting bitter. Yeah, I'm getting older. Yeah, and the reality of life and the concerns of life, I'm becoming more serious when I talk, when I think. But talking about not so serious, a president of France called Emmanuel Macron, he met the old Prime Minister Malcolm. Yes, Malcolm, the Prime Minister of Australia, and he had a dinner with their wives, and Emmanuel Macron came to greeting the wife of the Prime Minister of Australia, and said to the lady, you look in her dress, he said, instead of say, you look so delightful today, he said, you look so delicious today. Today. So I was quite embarrassed, but when I saw this was 2 years ago, to be honest, I didn't know quite. I wasn't quite sure the meaning of the two words. Then did my research. I said, I see. He said something quite rude. Yeah, and then he had the benefit. Everybody laughed and said, "Pardon my French." Yeah, he used that expression in English just to make the circumstance a little bit more light and delightful. All right, this story is a story quite unusual. This story talks about something really touch our lives, all of us. It's called relationship. Relationship. I have the view, as much we close in our relationship, as more risk we have to offend each other, to hurt each other. I don't know if you agree with me. Sometimes we take for granted our freedom we have even between couple. As much we close we are, we say things without thinking, we offend. In order to live together is a quite complicated dynamic. When we live in family, we live in community, when we gain freedom with people. And Ruth had a circumstance. I don't know about you. I would like to just pose a question. You don't need to answer me. I don't know how you go along with your in-laws, or how you used to go along with your in-laws. Maybe they're no longer here anymore. Some people may think in their own mind, oh, don't talk about this, Andre. This is a hot topic. This place, let's skip that area. Mother-in-law, this story, Ruth and Naomi and Orpha, is a story about, the way I see in part, is a story about a mother-in-law deal with their daughter-in-law. Sometimes we go along well, sometimes they don't go along well, and have a very interesting circumstance. They come to a moment, and that lady, the old lady, Naomi, now bitter in her heart, she said, everything's happened with me. I blame God. I blame God. This happened because God imposed on me this circumstance. I don't know how you read life. How you look the things happens to you of good or evil. Is everything happens with you is good? Some people say everything's good happens with me comes from God. Everything's come bad, evil come in my life comes from devil. Other people think everything happens in life is just a circumstance of life. It's not God imposed to me, it's not evil, it's just a consequence of life. Life is random. I don't know, I wrestle with this. Sometimes I have difficulty to point to my finger and say, oh, this happens with me is God. Or this is not God. This happens with me at the moment, it is not God. I don't have an answer for this. The thing I know for sure, and the Bible says all the time, everything is under the control of God. everything is under control. The orange of evil, or what we consider evil in our life, sometimes we don't know. It's hard for me, at least, to put a label. Say, this comes from God, this doesn't come from God. Just an inconclusive part of the thought. Okay, came to the terms. Naomi came to the two daughter-in-laws and said, guys, ladies, you still young. You can marry again. You can remarry. You guys are free. You guys not obliged to be by my side. You can go wherever you can go. You don't need to stay with me. And there is another, the verse 1, it starts saying, in those days of the judge ruled. Before the book of Ruth, there's a book of the Judges, comes a little bit before. There's a very interesting sentence in that book of Jude. They say that in those days there was a king in Israel, and everyone live according to their own eyes. This look pretty much every stage, every era in earth. Every time God is not a reference. God is not a paradigm. People tend to live according to their own eyes. You can be in a nation, you can be in a house, you can be in a family, you can be in a relationship, but each one live for how can I say that? I don't know how to say that properly. You're not living for the other, you're living for yourself. That's the way they live at the time. I don't know if we live at the same time. I have my own life, you have your own life. What the Bible tries to tell us, we are part of each other. We are like a body. We're supposed to look after each other. We're supposed to support each other. We're supposed to at least put some effort to look after each other, each one in their own capacity. And what Naomi came to their daughter said, guys, live the way you prefer. You're not obliged. You don't need to be with me. You can get married again. And then in times of difficulty, say this company is about to have a bankrupt. Orpha, one of the sister-in-law, said, okay, I will find my way. And she left Naomi. However, Ruth had another decision. And she answered, in Ruth 1:16, she answered to Naomi. That's the central verse of this book. Consider the center verse of this book. Where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. It's very easy. We abandon people, company, relationship when the thing doesn't go the way we want. It's much harder. We have a covenant. Covenant. Have a covenant, alliance, pay the price in times of hardship. What Ruth decided is a lesson that comes across the great man of God in the Bible. I will always be with you. Your God is my God. Your people is going to be my people. We live in a moment in life there is lack. Covenant. The music of this church is not good enough. I'm living. This and that sister says or do this, I'm living. I don't like the way these companies rule. I'm living. I just saying very generic, very broad example. We have to look every circumstance according to every circumstance. What I'm trying to say is there is very weak relationship in the way we committed with our commitments, with our relationships, with our times of difficulty, with our time of hardship. You know what? The Bible says something about Jesus. He was faithful up to the end, up till he died to the cross. He never gave up. He never gave up. He never gave up. This book is interesting. I just prepare myself to tell about this chapter 1. Ruth decided in this time of loss, keep herself loyal. That's part of the message. In times you felt lost in life, keep your loyalty at least to God. She paid the price. She paid that price. The end of her story is a fairy tale story, because she got married with a man called Boaz. Thank you. She got married. He was her redeemer. A rich man got married with this foreigner, poor lady. And I said a fairy tale because she became a princess of the people. And you know what? You might know that. Ruth, in the genealogy of David, she is one of the 4 women in there. She is the great-grandfather of David. She is the lineage of Jesus. Her fidelity to God extend in generations and touch her people, all the people, and all nations of the world, because the Messiah came through her, also through her loyalty. What I'm trying to say here is your fidelity, your loyalty with God. Maybe, hopefully not, maybe you're not gonna see, but if you're faithful to God, your great-grandchildren will receive this blessing. The blessing of your loyalty today will be harvested, will be a crop of your generation. That's what we expect. If God don't do in my generation with myself, maybe in a generation of my son or his children, if God allows. These words is to say to you, keep yourself loyal in times of loss. Keep yourself, even though in circumstances of catastrophe, disaster, despair, desperation, keep yourself loyal. We have the example of Ruth. We have the example of the Messiah. Her story touches our lives today. I mentioned with Dana 2 or 3 weeks ago. We are talking about the college, the privilege they have to build this college, and Dana is fulfilling a wish, a desire, a dream of her father. And I strongly believe is based also in the fidelity of the father, of the mother, of Dana. A fidelity and a loyalty is passing to another generation as a relay running. And every part of the generation is being faithful what they have in hands. Question: what you receive from God, are you being loyal for what He gave into your hand? Be faithful, and you're going to see, if not, other people will receive the fruit of your loyalty, of your faithfulness.